Hey everyone, last evening week workout review for this Thursday. We have the Basecamp Sweet Spot intervals with Hard Start, and we haven't done this one too many times, two or three times I think. But I am going to go back and compare the last time we did it. I've got Grayson up here for review. Now Grayson was here on Tuesday also for the FTP and attack intervals, but if you look back, he was out of town. He was on vacation. So last week he had off, and then I think he actually got sick after that. So it's been a little bit of rockier, less consistent cycle four, but kudos for showing up this week and jumping right in and doing the work. Today was not easy. Granted, maybe you're feeling a little bit better and maybe your legs are feeling um a little bit more rested, but also if you've been on vacation and off the bike and sick, there's that. And so we kind of talked about today approaching this type of workout pretty carefully and with an individual approach. So last week of the cycle, some of you might be extra fatigued, some of you might be feeling better than expected. But with Thursday being a more moderate day in the context of this type of week, so yes, it's an overreach week, but we've got a hard Tuesday workout. We have a hard event Saturday, and then Thursday is more moderate. So what does that mean? It's not easy, but it's not too hard. You shouldn't be pushing so hard on Thursday in this type of week that you can't get the full benefit from Saturday's hard workout. Um, but it's not like you can't go hard enough today to actually get the benefits of another, like a third hard workout. So keeping it moderate means you're doing just enough work, and you've got to be really honest with yourself and what you can handle on a day like today. So if you were digging really hard to just barely make the target watts, is probably a good idea to dial it down a little bit. Um, Still, if you were doing it on Zwift and painting green, that means you're still in the tempo zone. You're getting a lot of the same benefits, more so than if you're trying too hard to push sweet spot or above. Now, if you were feeling good and the power was coming easy and, you know, you were a little bit uncomfortable, this is that spot where a sweet spot, you have to really learn what it's supposed to feel like and then adjust a few watts here or there based on the day. But if it was feeling too easy and like you could sustain that effort for a long, long time, we wanted you to dial it up a little bit. So today was really about the nuance of feeling sweet spot and also adjusting your training based on what's best for you and your big picture. So once you come out of base or foundation, you're going to start, if you're doing a training plan or working with a coach, you'll probably start some sort of performance build. And this structure of the week is going to become a little bit more common where you've got the hard Tuesday, let's say a hard Saturday, if you stay with the same type of rhythm. And you really have to kind of modulate that Thursday effort back and forth based on the week. So anyway, let's go into the workout. Um, so let's see. We analyze. So Grayson's workout is in the background. Again, it was a pretty easy in terms of the relative structure of the workout. It was a 2-minute hard start at FTP, um, 18 minutes of sweet spot where we really wanted you to kind of just feel your way through the effort and adjust as needed. We didn't want you to chase the power today, not struggle too hard to get the target. Um, Absolutely, the goal was to ride with control today, as per usual, most of the time. Um, so I'm gonna hide the workout and we'll just take a look at it. I actually, you can just look at the power here. So it looks almost like, I don't know if he was in erg mode to start or he was just that smooth. It's possible he started in erg mode, and I'm calling him out right now, but that's okay. You can see where, if he did, he flipped to incline and was still really controlled. Again, if you just smooth it out even more, you can see there's some here, but given again, like how he probably was feeling, having been off for a week and having had the Tuesday hard workout, like you can tell he is focusing on keeping the power up. It's maybe not necessarily coming super easy, but he's staying focused and doing it. Um, and I selected the first interval and just highlighted it and called it interval 1. So we can see for 20 minutes, his first one, his average power was 184, heart rate was 137, normalized power was 185, and then his efficiency factor, EF, was 1.35. If we compare his second one, it was actually higher power. So he did exactly what we suggested. He held back a little bit on the first one and he pushed a little bit on the second one, not too hard. So he's still within the range. So his average power is 188, normalized power 189. Efficiency factor was pretty much, it was a little bit lower, 1.29. His heart rate was higher on this one. So let's look at that. Now, if I just look at, let's just look at the whole workout again. I might have to reset. Yeah. Well, let's see. You can kind of tell. So you can see the heart rate is elevated more so in the second lap. And if I was to select both intervals and just look at power to heart rate, you can see it's 3.8%. So a little bit of cardiac drift there. Again, his watts were higher on the second interval. His heart rate was a little bit higher too. That is probably because he's had some time off the bike. If Grayson had been doing the workouts consistently, getting everything green, didn't have vacation, didn't have sickness, we probably would see similar control in the power execution, but less of the heart rate decoupling in that second interval. Still not terrible. You can tell that he, again, felt pretty good if you just look at that second effort. Hard start looked good. Power dropped a little bit as he tried to regain control. That was one of the focuses today. With the hard start tempo, we really worked on that where we, start over threshold, drift down to tempo and recover there. So today we did the same with sweet spot. A little bit more challenging maybe for him today, but he got it. He held it there. You can tell he really used the focus to keep that power. It dropped a couple times, but he always brought it right back up. And then at the end, he could, smell the barn and just gave it that little bit of effort. He promised to keep it under FTP. We did caution you today if you felt good. Again, don't go too hard. Don't turn it into a FTP interval. It's just not worth the additional fatigue cost there. So the final thing we usually look at here will be cadence. And I am going to hide everything else. So cadence control looks really good. We wanted higher cadence with the 2-minute hard start. Again, that was really to drive up the oxygen demand, get the muscles firing quickly, generate some hydrogen ions, some lactate, some carbon dioxide to expel so we could put that additional demand on the body to recover again under that load at sweet spot effort. We flipped to low cadence for the extended sweet spot, primarily to build that muscular endurance. So we're still focusing on building that. We're getting all the good metabolic adaptations with the workload, and then we're getting the additional emphasis on that muscular endurance with a little bit lower cadence in that extended sweet spot, which you can see he did a really nice job with maintaining that cadence control. So even when the power jumped around a tad, he pretty much was in control. And it could have just been a focus thing. Like, yes, it was a little bit uncomfortable, but doing a couple things like refocusing on your breathing, refocusing on your posture, paying attention, just kind of like bringing it back inwards and focusing, you can really see that his cadence was under control. You don't see any big spikes or big drops in cadence. And so that's a really good sign. Again, going back to that heart rate, decoupling a little bit, I would attribute that to obviously higher workload in the second interval and a little bit of time off the bike, meaning once he establishes that consistency again and still includes that aerobic training, all the zone 2 work in between the harder days, that aerobic, the plasma volume and the cardiac response should come back. So you should see the efficiency factor trending back in the right direction. But still, if I compared this to the last workout he did February 8th, efficiency factor is significantly higher today. So he had 1.3, last time it was 1.2, and he averaged 8 more watts today for 45 minutes, compared to 42 minutes last time, and higher normalized power today as well. So despite the little bit of hiccups in cycle 4 with the travel and the sickness, really nice job getting back on track, hitting the last week of training. I would suggest, if your schedule allows, going back to redo some of cycle, maybe even some of cycle 3, getting back into cycle 4 and reestablishing a good solid foundation before you progress your build from here. Thanks so much for joining the rides. It's been such an awesome 16 weeks, every Tuesday and Thursday. Awesome energy, lots of fun. You guys have been fantastic to ride with. So thanks so much for joining, and we will see you next December. It's hard to believe. All right, see you then.